trauma affects my brain, and I feel inadequate, and I begin to do things repeatedly to feel better, that also affects my brain, which affects the way I think. So it's created a pattern. That's called addiction. So now the behavior in which I'm doing to feel better is based upon the belief that I'm junk, which is based upon what I've gone through. But I ain't even thinking about what I've gone through. I'm thinking about what I'm doing. So listen. Now, if you're continually doing behaviors that are bringing bad results, what is my value? What is my worth?
Yeah.
How good do you feel after you've done something you shouldn't do? Cheated on your wife, cheated on your husband, looked at pornography, whatever the case may be, hurt someone. Your worth is in the trash can. You don't feel adequate. Now, how many of you know that how you feel about yourself affects your brain? That's called depression. A lot of depressed people.
Yeah, let's make a distinction here. What you think is different than your brain. Now see, we don't want to over-spiritualize here. Mind, body, and spirit. But here's the thing about the brain. Like the heart, it's its own organ. It's got its own automated systems. If you expose it to certain things, it's going to have automatic reactions. Now the part of the brain we think about the thinking with, that's actually only right up here. There's a whole lot of the brain back here that has reactions and thoughts and electronic impulses that don't come from the thinking part, they come from the instinctive part. So when we're talking about the brain, you're literally, if you keep doing things over and over by your choices, you are reprogramming your brain. It's just like a computer. What you put into it is going to affect what comes out of it. So just to make that distinction, our brain is not just what we're thinking about, it's what our brain is visualizing and seeing. You've had a running video that your brain has been taking and captured every event since the birth canal. Now, some of it you can recall. Thank the Lord. I said to the Lord that one day, when I started learning this, I said, thank the Lord if we don't remember our birth. I mean, but I have met people who have had legitimate memories from 2 years old because they've been verified. So the brain's been on video. It covers everything you've ever done and also every feeling you've ever had. So the brain records, when this happens, here's how I felt. And it keeps it back there. And when we get in a present situation that makes us feel like a past trauma, that part of the brain starts to kick into gear and says, we got to go. We got to do this. Our thinking part can overcome and make a better decision, but not till we realize the impact on the other part of our brain and what it's fighting with.
So when you feel you're inadequate, I said that affects your brain. Makes you feel depressed, sad. That affects the way you think, which creates a false being. So the person we become, who am I? The me I see is based upon trauma, pain, and problems. The me I see is the me I be. Right? Now, we can see this and think that we are inadequate. And we can then fool ourselves with the other side of it and think, again, where I got saved, it was big in the charismatic church, and I'm not against that, but I believe in an optimistic reality. Okay, so I'm a realist that's optimistic. I think it's good to be optimistic. We have to be real first. The reality is, there was a time in my life when I was a saved being that I thought I was junk. But then I was told, okay, you're not junk, you're this. This is what you are. He is in you is great, he is in the world. And he gave me all these great scriptures that are true, but I never dealt with feeling like junk. So I just basically glossed over it and was being something that I was not. It wasn't until I dealt with it that I could embrace that truly and be that, and not a facade. So we have to be real about our condition.
And nobody is better than putting on a mask than people on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
We are. We train up to show you what you want to see so you'll feel good about me. That's just who we are, unfortunately.
And so what does our trauma affect? This little baby is the original person that God created and designed you to be. Okay? Oh, what? Yeah. Yeah. He's got a big forehead. So yeah, that's the original person God created you to be. But the problem is, you went through hurt and pain. And from that hurt and pain, you experience what we call toxic shame. Now, I'm not going to ask you to raise your hands, but how many people in here have been intoxicated before? You don't have to raise your hands, but you can if you want. I don't care. I have. So, how do you know that you're intoxicated? You consume so much alcohol that it toxifies your bloodstream. You know that because your vision is blurred. Got to cover one eye. Your speech is slurred. You have headaches. You have vomiting. Your balance is off. Your decisions making are terrible. What happens when we go through trauma? It toxifies who we are. We see things differently. Our decision making is often off. Our balance isn't where it needs to be. So what has actually happened is the same way that you drink down that whatever it is you're going to choose to drink. It toxifies you the same way that camera that Rob's talking about affects you. So from the lies we believe, we have all these emotions. Fear, anger, and sadness is the often three. Who wants to feel shame, fear, sadness, and anger? Nobody. So then we have our problem and our addiction. And then we have what we show on Sunday morning, the public image.
All that's under there. It's all under there.
Now I'm going to talk to you here. I'm going to talk to you here in a few minutes about breaking this thing apart, pulling it apart and dealing with it. But for right now, I'm going to leave it just like that as the onion. And that is the people, that's what you show, and that's what everyone sees. And me and Rob have the benefit of counseling with a host of people, from doctors to lawyers to pastors to teenagers to moms to dads, and no one knows what's inside.
When we've gone through this process, I believe everybody goes through this process to some degree. Regardless of whether you think you were traumatized, everybody has been abandoned in some way. Somebody's let you down.
Amen.
When you go through that process and you develop coping mechanisms to survive, what you do without realizing it, you begin to misplace your dependency on this other thing that you've got to have to make you be okay. Now that other thing, take your choice. It can go from fried chicken to making money. It could be whatever. My two things were the opinion of a woman is what I needed to have for me to be okay, and I also need to be successful. I felt like, if nothing else, if I could be successful and make money, then I'd feel good about me. The problem with that is, I hit 34 years old, and if you'd known me, I'm 50 now, if you'd known me 20 years ago, you'd have said, you know what, that man's got it going on. He's got everything. He's got a business, he's got a daughter, he's got a wife, he's got 50 employees, he's got a boat, he's got a motorcycle, he's got properties, he's got retirement. He's got it going on. Whether you like me or not, you probably wanted what I had. I'll put it that way. If you were aspiring in the same foolishness that I was, you probably want the same thing.
Right. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, sometimes God has to strip it down and you lose all of it before you begin to reevaluate what truly is important. I wasn't smart enough to know that those weren't the important things. So when my sin hit, and I don't know how many have ever been on the front page of the paper for the wrong reason, but that's a wake-up call. See, I had misplaced my dependency and was doing my survival mode and was just getting along and trying to do what I thought I needed to do. Now, I didn't like who I was, but medicine and counseling hadn't changed it.